Hey everyone, James Labrie from Dream Theater, and you're listening to or watching the podcast Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian. Enjoy this. These guys are extremely informative. I love their dialogue. I love their interpretation of the songs, who and what we are, what we were going after. They're very accurate in their interpretations and descriptions, and I just think this is a great show, and these guys are doing a stand-up stellar job. So once again, enjoy Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Talking into Infinity, a Dream Theater-centric podcast. I am your host, John. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, talkingintoinfinity.com, cmsnetwork.com, and, of course, the CMS Network Rumble page. You can find us at those locations every other Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are tuned in on YouTube, don't forget to click that like button, click that subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. Without further ado, let me bring on my esteemed co-host, a man who had the good fortune of celebrating a milestone birthday in the year we're going to be discussing, 2002. He turned 60 in 2002, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I am talking about Brian. What's up, man?
Oh, man. You know, it's been a while since we actually did, I guess, what we call a normal podcast. You know, we kind of did the What's Coming for Dream Theater, and we had the unfortunate episode about your... But I just want to real quick say thank you once again to everyone who was on that show live, who commented, you know, the thoughts about your dad. That was a great episode. And I just want to remind everybody how cool that was. And even if, you know, if you're not a huge Dream Theater fan, if you're just like a fan of the show in general, go check that one out.
Yeah, I second that very much, man. To all you guys that tuned in, I appreciated it very, very much. I appreciate it. I still do. I got a lot of private messages off of that, Brian, and you guys were just awesome. So I really, really appreciate that, guys. That was very cool of you. I know it was kind of a self-serving episode to do, but
no. Not at
it
all,
was,
man.
well, dude, it was great. And I think one of the coolest things that people said, you know I talked to Joe Gebhardt and JG3 and stuff like that. And, you know, a bunch of people and several people said that they thought it was kind of cool that we were real, that we weren't just trying to be like two talking heads or characters or something like that. They thought it was cool that we were just honest and real about who we were and things going on. So, that to me is like an extreme compliment. So
yeah, it was a great show, and I want to get to something that sometimes we forget that we get. Do get these messages over Facebook, and a buddy of mine, Michael McCullum, he's a dude who completely kicked the crap out of Cancer's ass. I played in a band with him before. He was in the Four Horsemen for a time. Awesome bass player. He's played with Ripper Owens on a couple occasions. He just sent a message saying, "Hey, I'm new to your pod." I think I told him about it a while back, but it took him a while to dive in. But he's just real quick. He said, "Here's my current top 10. Panic Attack. You're going to love this, John. Moment of Betrayal."
Wow. Okay.
As I Am. Glass Prison. Nothing wrong with those. Root of All Evil. New Millennium. Dark Eternal Night. Count of Tuscany. I won't throw that out of bed.
Nice.
Pull Me Under. Hollow Years. Nightmare to Remember. But anyway, this is a guy who's a friend of mine, music fan. He was always kind of into Dream Theater, but we have pushed him over the edge to discover the entire catalog, including Loving the Astonishing. So it kind of goes back to the episode where we were real, and we said at the end, this is why we do the show, is to talk about everything and become this community. So anyway, thanks, Michael McCullum, aka Metal Pete, for that awesome message.
Very cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I actually just myself this week was talking to a coworker, and he was asking about the podcasts that I do, and I'd mentioned this one, and he said, Dream Theater's a band I've always tried to get into, but I've never really. It's kind of daunting. And I said, well. He's like, do you recommend any songs? I said, well, have I got an episode for you? So I sent over it was episode 3 of all things, our third episode ever. I just sent over the the Gateway Dream Theater songs video, and he checked it out, and he just hit me up this morning. He's like, dude, that's pretty cool. He's like, I like that. He's like, I don't know if I can get into the rest. I'm trying, but those are some damn good tunes. You made some good selections. So
Well,
yeah,
speaking
so
of a
very cool.
guy that has no interest whatsoever in listening to Dream Theater,
Yeah, that's a segue. So let's bring him on. You know him, you love him from the Classic Metal Show, Chris Akin Presents, the Seth Williams Show, any number of different things that he does. Hey, Talking Into Infinity, one of our very favorite special guest hosts. He is one of my very, very best friends in my life. He is, of course, the mighty Chris Akin. What's up, man?
What is up, guys? Brian, happy 82nd to you.
Nice to
talk to you.
Always got to get the age jokes in there, man. Oh, man.
And me who's horrible at math, I'm sitting here trying to calculate it. Is that 72? Is that 76? I'm an idiot with math, but I think I'm right.
I was
on
very
82.
impressed. Yeah, you were, and I was like, wow, he got it. He sucks at math. That's awesome. Man.
What is up, boys? How we doing?
Not too bad, man. So right off the rip, man. Oh God, hold on. We got some realism. Chastity, hopefully it's not too personal, but you are a friend. Chastity said she had a shitty day. She said, I don't want to bring the show down, but I found out my aunt and uncle were killed last night in a car accident. So this is a great show anyway, but loving the timing. So Chastity, man, so many condolences. That's awful.
Yeah,
I am so sorry to hear that, man. Wow. Well, glad we can bring a little bit of light into your day. I'm very, very sorry, man. Much love to you. Much love to you.
dude.
Oh.
Yeah, Tyson Leslie, he's on here live with us.
There we go. What's up, Tyson? Thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for checking out the show.
I'm not trying to skip Chastity's comment. That is absolutely horrible. But yeah, good brand new good new friend Tyson Leslie. I'm going to be seeing him literally in 9 days on the Monsters of Rock cruise. He's watching from his car.
You may not be seeing him. He's watching from his car.
Yeah,
really.
So safe driving technique displayed by Tyson over there.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Be careful, buddy. Awesome
yeah.
to have you on the show. All right, so 2002, Akin, where in the world were you? What were you up to?
What was I doing? I was working. I know that. I don't remember what. I think I was working at a law firm, I think. And I know that was like kind of maybe near the end of my commercial radio run. I was, I believe I was on 92.3 being a shock jock over there. Imagine that. Yeah. I was just doing my thing. I was being myself, being a pain in the ass that I always was. And, what I do remember most about that era, like 2002, like 2000 to 2005, is that is probably the heaviest musical era of my life. That was, I had kind of, I had been an 80s guy, for a long time, and I hung on to it way after everybody else did. I was still listening to Dokken and Warrant and Great White till about 2000, and then it just was done. 2000s on, everything got heavier and heavier and heavier, and death metal became more and more and more, and I got into like this really heavy phase. So yeah, that's pretty much what I was doing, was just being a slug, working it out like everybody else, and at night wearing my decapitated hats and t-shirts. Nice. And going out to metal shows.
Well, we're not going to have too many crossover albums, I guess, with John and I. Then I don't think so.
Probably not. I was trying to. There's like, and we'll get to it if we do all 10. But I have a feeling there are two that John has heard, okay, and maybe two that you'll like.
Okay.
That you'll like, Brian. But the rest is all like really heavy stuff or pretty heavy stuff.
I have 8, and you would kind of be one of them. I'm going to get absolutely crucified for. So I got crucified for it back then. I'm going to get crucified for it all over again, especially with, some recent stuff. But yeah, mine is surprisingly heavy. I think that might be a little shocking. But the one thing I was going to say is it's funny because like this was a difficult year for me I looked up all the records. I'm like, oh man. So when I found out you were jumping on Akin, I was like, okay, good. We can drop it from 10 albums to 8. Yeah. Like, I was like, thank God. And then I was talking to one of my team members this morning who's asking about the show when I brought up what year we were doing. He's a little familiar with Dream Theater. And he said, when's the next one? And I said, oh yeah, Train of Thought. I'm like, he's like 2003. I'm like, yeah. I looked up 2003. I was like, all right, well, at least I know the next time we do this, it's going to be really easy because I'm going to have a hard time cutting albums out because there's a ton that I love. 2002, not so much.
Meanwhile, I had a list of like 40 that I had to cut down.
Of course you did.
Nice.
You're not a narrow-minded prick like me.
I struggled to find a real quick before we get to the music. We always do this thing with the movies. So a real quick thumbs up or thumbs down for these movies. Insomnia. That's Christopher Nolan kind of in the beginning. Pacino and Robin Williams.
Never saw it.
Never saw it.
Okay, great movie, I'll say. Red Dragon, probably the best sequel. Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, I'll take Hannibal over that any day.
Take
But that's
Hannibal over that?
still a great movie.
Okay, Minority Report.
Great movie.
Decent
That
Tom
was good.
Cruise. Yeah,
like
the
it.
first Spider-Man. It's hard to believe that's been 20 years now.
I like that. That's not really an Akin movie. He's not a
No.
superhero.
Believe it or not, I like that one. I saw that one.
Like that one?
Okay.
Okay.
I like that one.
This is considered a musical, 8 Mile.
Sure.
That was. I saw it. I was always fascinated how people are like, Eminem is such a good actor. I'm like, he's being himself. How can you not act as yourself?
Two Towers, JG3 pointed out, of course, which I thought was, I don't know if I liked it as much as Lord of the Rings. Solid movie.
How is it different from Lord of the Rings?
It's not really. That's, I guess.
We're walking. There's a ring. We're walking. Got it.
Yeah.
There's an amazing battle at the end.
Right out of Silent Bob. 1 Hour Photo. I thought that was a good Robin Williams creepy movie once again.
Yeah, I like that.
Road to Perdition. Good Tom
Love it.
Hanks.
As I'm dying over here.
So,
Love
anyway,
it. That's a great movie.
that's what I got for movies. Yeah.
Really? That's all you got for movies in 2002?
Yeah, I don't know anything else that came out.
Oh God, you did this. on
Austin
purpose.
Powers.
Yeah, you missed Austin Powers.
Okay, sorry.
Men in Black 2.
There you go. JG3 is a Two Towers fan. Robert Husted, good to see you, brother. He says he is a Two Towers fan.
Is that
So-
Attack of the Clones or no?
It's Attack of the Clones. Yes, it is.
Okay. I was just
Yes.
kidding.
Generally regarded as the shittiest Star Wars movie until The Rise of Skywalker came along, but I love it. So and
It's funny. I liked it. I really liked Attack of the Clones at the time, and now not so much.
See, and most Star Wars nerds are the opposite. It was like the hated movie, and now people are kind of coming around to it as it's aged a lot. So
Didn't like it then. Don't like it now.
look at this. All right, I'm gonna mess up your name, bro, but Josox Atlantis says watching from Spain like always. That's all.
Wow.
Thank you for tuning in, man. What is with this?
Got to be
damn-
like 4 in the morning there or something.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, bro.
The
Kale
podcast
McLeish?
from Spain fall mainly in the rain. I don't know what to say. Dude, this
Right?
is our first person from Spain ever. That's amazing.
Yeah. Kale, good to see you, man. He says, I also love Attack of the Clones.
Oh,
See,
shocker.
there we go. All right. So I did not rank mine in order. I have my favorite, which I'll do last, but otherwise my list is just chronological. So
All right.
okay, Josox Atlantis, he says it's 1:44 exactly.
Woof.
All right, yeah.
That's
So
dedication.
6 hours. Look at you. Thanks, man. All right. So, all right. So, Brian, since this is your idea, I will let you go first. We each have 8 albums. So, what is your first selection? If you were in 2002, you walk into the record store and you cannot buy 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, what else are you buying? What is the first album on your list?
All right. I'm interested to hear Akin's take on this. I have L.A. Guns, Waking the Dead.
It's okay. I know the album.
Okay.
I know it's not on my list. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's like one of the non-Tracy Guns albums, right? Isn't that?
No, he's actually still on there. So
Is
it's
he on
him.
that one?
Yeah. So is there anything more uncool probably in the year 2002 than L.A. Guns? I'm guessing no, right? So,
Yeah, pretty much. Was that the album that they did with the "Okay, Let's Roll" on it? Because they had to jump on the 9/11 bandwagon.
which I actually think is a decent song. So Andy Johns produced it. The first couple songs I think are really cool. Don't Look at Me That Way, and then it goes into that Let's Roll, which is like a tribute to the hijackers on the 9/11 flights. There's a killer solo in the title track, Waking the Dead. Again, Andy Johns, he was one of the go-to guys of the 80s era. And I think he nails the essence of L.A. Guns. Hellraiser's Ball, really cool. It's, sounds like you're in a biker bar in 1986 or something. City of Angels is a great chorus. I think, what stands out is Phil Lewis's voice on this. It's just really top form. The melodies are top notch, and, it's L.A. Guns, so most of the time they get you in and out of there in 4 to 4.5 minutes, tops, and that's the way it should be. But the riffs are definitely there, and I think it's probably the best they had done since Hollywood Vampires.
Yeah, they're cool. Tracy's not; he's a dick, but the rest of those guys are cool. And as a player, Tracy's a good player. Phil Lewis still sounds good. If you want to be honest about it, he looks like a pirate, but he sounds great. He absolutely still today sounds pretty much like he did in 1988 when we first discovered him. Waking the Dead, I don't know. There's like a whole list of those records that I can't tell one from the other. That Hollywood Forever, the others.
Yeah,
I don't even remember a lot of those, but it's okay, I guess. Not my top. Definitely not in my top 50, but it's all right.
Yeah.
JG3 says, well, I guess that's considered music.
Boy, he's really not going to like my list then.
Yeah, no shit. Well, what is first on your list, Chris?
Well, the lowest of my list is Propane, Shreds of Dignity. I love Propane. They're as just heavy as any band can be. They came out of the punk world, and it's just blah, 3-minute bursts at most of just straight up killing. The one thing about Shreds of Dignity that I thought was cool was it had this song called Gone Fishing, and when you saw that on the list, you were like, that's kind of odd. And then, until you play it, and then it's still just another 3-minute blast of just hate. Right. It's just straight up rage music. And that's where I was at the time. So for me, Shreds of Dignity from Propane would be my first one on the list.
Okay. I'm not overly familiar with Propane. I just know it's like hardcore basically, and
yeah,
I don't listen to a ton of that because I think it's just the repetition of it for me. It does, once you've heard kind of one record, to me it kind of blends together like AC/DC or something. But I like some of it. So all right, Propane. I'm familiar with them, just not that familiar.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
That's what it's going to be a lot of this list.
Pretty much.
He uses it all the time to grill, so he's very familiar with it.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. So my first record on this list was released on March 5th of 2002, and it's one of my favorite bands actually. And I know Akin loves this band and this guy. It is, of course, Black Label Society 1919 Eternal. It's a kick-ass record. The only thing that holds this record back for me is the production. Zakk Wylde apparently hated the bass guitar on a couple of these early Black Label records, and this is definitely one of them. But this album just rocks, man. Bleed for Me, Demise of Sanity, Graveyard Disciples, Genocide Junkies. Like, this record just absolutely just kicks ass. So I'm a huge Zakk Wylde fan. I love a lot of the Black Label catalog. Kind of hit and miss for me. I would have to say if I have a favorite Black Label record, it's Mafia.
Gee, you and everybody else.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I like the production on it, and there's a couple songs on that are really underrated. I think that no one really talks about. But yeah, Black Label. I like this record because it kind of is before he got into that pattern of having to have like 3 ballads on every record that sound exactly the same, and I do not like the Black Label ballads at all. No offense, Zakk Wylde, but I'm not a fan. But yeah, Black Label Society 1919 Eternal.
See, I didn't put that. That didn't even make my top 50 either. I did not like that record at all. Same reason you're saying. I hated the production. I thought Bleed for Me was a crap song. It just, all right, I bleed for you. Got it. You're bleeding. Great. I that was like the album that came and that just slowed everything down. Like they were, with Stronger Than Death and with the debut and, leading into it, everything was so freaking monstrous. Then you got that one, and then you followed it with another shit one with Shot to Hell, I think was the next one, I believe, after that. And I was like, this really ain't doing it with the
Right.
Concrete Jungle or whatever was the hit off of that one. It's like, ooh. Yeah, that lost me for a little bit. But that being said, I love Black Label. I've seen them numerous times. Hell, I interviewed Jeff Fab, the drummer, yesterday. So I'm all in on Black Label, but not that one. That's a miss for me.
There you go. Well, Kale McLeish brings up Audio Slave by Audio Slave, a band I was not a fan of. I am not a fan of Rage, and Chris Cornell is an extremely talented vocalist, but I hated his voice. So he put the two together, and it was just, not a fan.
Well, you might get to hear more about something you're not a fan about later than
there's probably going to be a lot of that. So
I do want to say on our messages earlier. So Steve, I don't know if it's Maloney, Milone, from Jersey. He's actually at the Pantera show at the Garden tonight. He did have 1919 Eternal Black Label Society on there, so I wanted to bring that up, John.
Yep. Like I say, I mean, the production, but I like the songs. So, All right, Brian. So what do you have as second on your list?
At number 2, and I'm sure everyone probably thought this would be on here, I've got Rush Vapor Trails. The album starts out, it really does not sound like Rush at all. It almost sounds like that Uma Thurman dance with that Dick Dale surf guitar thing. But there's a really killer groove, drum beat laid down by Neil Peart. A lot of heavy, awesome, foreboding kind of guitar work from Alex. The pace kind of just keeps going. The Ceiling Unlimited, really cool rocker. Then there's kind of this, like, it's a dark record. It's sort of melancholy and, desperate. Peaceable Kingdom, the title track, Vapor Trails, same thing. And then we get the fourth part of the Fear trilogy, which I don't even know if you're allowed to call it a trilogy anymore. So they did put a fourth part song.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it's called Freeze, which I didn't even, I guess, know until recently. But yeah, there was a period there where Rush was overproduced to the point of exhaustion. There was as many arpeggiators, sequencers, keyboards as we can cram in, and I was actually a huge fan of that. I still thought it was cool, but this is Rush at its essence when it's a 3-piece rock band. And the way they actually end the album is Out of the Cradle, and the lyric is endlessly rocking. That's what he keeps kind of saying over and over. So they really sort of got back to that 3-piece Zeppelinist sort of style of roots on this album, and I think it's a really cool album.
Yeah, I was just I finished Geddy Lee's autobiography a couple weeks ago when he was talking about this record. It was basically their comeback record after Neil Peart had taken off a bunch of time because his daughter died and whatnot. And Geddy Lee was saying that mixing this record was a complete and total bitch. He said it was like the hardest one that they ever had to do, like because there's so much goofy stuff going on, and they had to use some of the demo tracks, which didn't mix well with the recorded tracks from later on. Like there's a lot about this record in that book. But I mean, I listened to this, and I think it's the second. I don't know what the name of the song is, but track 2 I thought was really cool. Rush is one of those bands that, like, I love Moving Pictures. Go figure, who doesn't? And I like a bunch of other songs, but I keep trying to get into them, and it's just as a whole, they don't grab me.
Yeah, that second song is Ceiling Unlimited, and this stuff is not going to be an album where you're going to find stuff that's going to, other than probably that one, grab you really.
Yeah. Akin, where are you at with Rush?
Chronicles is all I need. That's pretty much it. I don't need any of the albums. The greatest hits. It has pretty much everything I like. Like some of the hits, don't like some of the hits. Everything from Grease Under Pressure on was just garbage to me. Just, again, perfect for this show. A little too proggy for me, But, I don't know. They're okay. I've seen them a bunch of times. I've walked out on them a bunch of times, which I know is sacrilege. But, at least 3 different times I went and saw Mr. Big and left.
Wow.
I'm just not a fan. Something about Geddy's voice just didn't jive with me. I know they're great musicians. I'm not trying to say that they're shitty musicians or anything. They're obviously world class, but I don't know. Long songs about trees. Nah, it's not my thing.
All right. Well, Rush is not your thing, but what is your thing? Meaning the second choice on your list of albums from 2002.
I'm gonna go back to my Mayhem Fest days, and I'm going with Kill Switch Engage, Alive or Just Breathing.
Yes.
Well, you just took one off of Brian's list.
It's a killer record. If I'm not mistaken, it's the last one Jesse did for like a long time, for 15 years or something. And it's to me, it's the last one that was just fire breathing. You know, when they brought in Howard, they went a different direction, a little more melodic, I would say, where the earlier stuff was much, much heavier. Alive and Just Breathing was kind of that crossover both. Obviously, My Last Serenade was huge for them. Fixation on the Darkness was a great tune on that record.
Yep.
And seeing them a bunch of times, that's kind of one of the themes of my little list here is I've seen all these bands numerous times, and Killswitch was a band. I'll be honest, I didn't really love Killswitch at first until I saw them, and then once I saw them, and you just saw the energy that Adam had and that Leach had, and then later even Howard Jones had in the band, man, they just won you over. And so yeah, for me, Alive and Just Breathing is right there. Great record. I still listen to it all the time. It's a fantastic, fantastic disc.
Awesome.
That's
John's like, yeah, I've heard of them, but I've never seen them before.
I'm familiar. Like Chastity Crawley. That description, Chris. Long songs about trees. Do you like the Lord of the Ring books?
Books, no.
Pages describing trees. Chris only writes books. He does not read books.
I don't read books. I just write them. You're 100% right. I've read like 2 in my life.
That's the mark of a true writer, though. You don't have time to read. You're too busy writing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I am too busy, not writing, but too busy.
No, I know Killswitch. I listen to them a little bit. It's not anything like it's not like a go-to for me, but I know some of their stuff.
Oh yeah, name 3 songs.
I couldn't name a song. I don't have to. Look, man, there's plenty of bands I know who they are, and I've listened to a few tunes, but I don't know about them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's interesting to listen to, you know. This next band on my list might be one of those. This is going to be a weird one, and Chris, you're going to think I'm full of crap for this, and probably Brian too. But this is like a record by a band you would never think I listened to, but this particular record is just kind of the one that I fell into it a few years ago, and now this is just a mindless, dumb, heavy, repetitive, like 40-minute album of just, you know, if you want to just like grab a sledgehammer and pound something into dust. It was released on March 12th of 2002, and it is the sophomore effort from Hatebreed, Perseverance.
I love that album. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think you and I have ever talked about the fact that I listen to Hatebreed here and there. So like,
yeah,
you know,
no, I love Hatebreed's great. That's the one with I will be heard. Yeah,
yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, and Perseverance. The breakdowns on that record are fucking ridiculous. Well, am I supposed to not swear? Swear?
No, you can swear in the show.
All right, I didn't remember, but yeah, that record rules, man. I forgot. I should have that on my list, but I don't. But
yeah, it's like it's one of the. It's just like Hatebreed's one of those bands that falls under that. That header that I just mentioned a few minutes ago of like it's repetitive all the time, but it's like if you just like I listened to it the other day prepping for the show, and it's just like 40 minutes of just Jamie Josta screaming like we are all together and we'll overcome, with like super heavy riffs and everything. It's like some thrash, there's some hardcore, but like you said, the breakdowns are just fucking brutal, and I love that kind of stuff. And it's got the production is heavy, and it's that early 2000s like super crunchy, like gainy like guitar and everything. And so yeah, it's cool, man. It's got some great tunes on there. I dig it. So my number 2 is Hatebreed. So
I'll tell you a quick Hatebreed story for this album. Matt and I, when I was doing the metal show, we brought them in for like a meet and greet. It was supposed to be, we used to do these things called extreme sessions at a studio.
Yeah.
And for some reason they couldn't come to the studio. We had to shift day of to the venue. So, and with it, it was like 10 fans would get invited, and the band would come and jam 2, 3, 4, 5 songs for the band. It was like a private sound check, which it was always fun. Hatebreed, because they had to make everybody shift, and we switched up on everybody literally day of and had to call everybody. They played like an hour for 10 fans at
Nice.
3:00 in the afternoon. And midway through the set, Josta pulled out this big old cooler full of beer and set it on the floor at the I forget where this was. I think it was the Agora. Just set it on the floor at the Agora, and everybody was drinking the beers. And that Jamie gave them while they jammed, and then the band came off and grabbed some beers and took pictures and signed autographs. It was the coolest thing, and we had a recording of it. We have a recording of it somewhere, actually. Still, it was really fun. Those guys are cool, man.
Oh, nice.
That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, they were fun.
Yeah, Jost is one of those guys that, like, again, I don't follow the band too much, but he just seems cool to me. Like, he's a metal fan, and he does all those interviews. He had the Josta show, and like, he's just a cool dude, man. He's like the non-dickhead, like, loser version of Corey Taylor. Like, it's like Corey Taylor, just like he's like a metal fan, but you want to get behind that guy, but he's such a damn whiner, and just it's like, shut up. Whereas Jamie Josta, you're like, dude, I want to go drinking with this guy. Like,
Yep.
yeah. So, all right, Brian. So, what do you have at number 3 on your list?
I do want to bring up JG3. We'll go through his list quickly. He's got Vapor Trails, Rush. I lost it there. Did you
I will
scroll
do
it? Go ahead.
Yes. No. I say I'll do the comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pain of Salvation, Remedy, Coldplay, Rush of Blood to the Head, Maroon 5, songs about Jane. I'm surprised you're kind of a Maroon 5 fan, John, or no? I'm not trying to be funny here.
Absolutely not.
Okay. I actually thought you were. I wasn't trying to make a joke there.
No.
Okay. Second 5, Peter Gabriel, Porcupine Tree, Flaming Lips, Symphony X, The Odyssey. I wonder if that's going to show up on anyone's list.
I was gonna say.
It's a good one.
Spock's Beard, Snow. I know nothing about Spock's Beard. Is that the band you get into at all, Chris?
Come on, no.
That's like one of those Neil Morse bands and Morse
Yeah.
or whatever. Like,
Okay,
yeah.
that time I wasn't trying to be serious.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm down to number 3. Okay, here's time for me to get annihilated. I've got Boston Corporate America. I fully admit I love everything Boston has ever done. It's absolutely over-the-top processing of the guitars and vocals, but it's beautiful ear candy to this 82-year-old man. Production-wise, it still sounds like it was done using a 4-track recorder, especially with those cheap fake synth-sonic drums. And I don't know, but this is a Tom Schultz thing, and he is never going to get off of this train of doing drums this way. I don't know what caused him to go this route, but that's what it is. But you still got Brad Delp on most of the songs. I mean, Brad Delp is one of the most incredibly, hauntingly beautiful, powerful voices in the history of rock. Nobody on the planet can sing like him in that range and that tone. There's also Fran Cosmo does lead vocals on this. There's kind of it almost sounds like an Oasis song, Stare Out Your Window. Kind of a cool thing. But as usual, like every song other than that is about basically the pursuit and feeling of finding the one, or being a teenager in love. It's like, I had a really good time, didn't mean to fall in love, you gave up on love. No, these are not titles from Michael Bolton's greatest hits. They're not the last 2 Celine Dion albums, but it's the majority of corporate America. The only thing that kind of breaks it up is the title track. It's like... Tom Schultz is kind of a renowned PETA, EPA activist, so this is sort of like his Rage Against the Machine. I don't mean the way it sounds, but it's fighting back against them. But it's the song again. It's got this huge melody and chorus, and it's like if you find yourself not singing along to like 75% of this album, then I don't know. I think you're like tone deaf melodically, but that's how I've always been with Boston. So
I know nothing about Boston. I just know who they are. So.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'll say it's great grilling music. That's for sure.
I was waiting for that
to use with your propane.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think Brian gets your joke there.
No, he doesn't.
I got it.
That's
Turn the propane up in the bathroom and get to it.
Right.
Oh, God. Well, all right. So what's number 3 on your list, Akin?
John, I know you'll hate this one since we're taking our shots. This will be my take my shot one. Believe by Disturbed. I still listen to this record a ton. I love the song Liberate. I love the song Awaken. Prayer was okay. I remember, the funny thing is, I remember the first time I heard it, I hated it. I hated, especially Prayer, because The first record is so like in your face and angry. And then it was like, this is the way I pray. I was like, ugh, who cares how you pray, you fuck? You know, it was soft and I didn't like it, but the album grew on me. I still listen to it a lot, actually. And they're one of those bands that you either like them or you hate them. There's really I don't know anybody that's like, yeah, Disturbed, they're okay. You know, people just have a harshness to them or a total love. I guess I fall into total love. I still like everything that they do. So that's my number, whatever we're at, number 3.
All right. Well, cool. I met David Draymond. I met the band at the Rock Hall when they were doing that MTV show where they would have like the band play live at the Rock Hall or whatever. And super nice guy. Didn't you and I see them live on this tour with Seven Dust? Yeah,
I think we did on this tour. Yeah.
Was that?
I think that's the China tour.
I was gonna say, there was, man.
Brian, you don't know this story.
Go
ahead, John.
Save it for after the show, maybe.
No.
This could be a little misogynistic, but it was funny. Like it was like Seven Dust and Disturbed, and there was some chick, like we were on the floor and up in the lower bowl of seating, there was some woman and she was like buff, like workout woman, but she was wearing like chainmail or something for a top, and she kept like teasing people like she was gonna pull her shirt up or something. And Akin just screams out in this silence, like, "Show us your tits, China!" Like, it was amazing.
That doesn't sound like him at all, though.
I know. It was a rare moment for me.
That was awesome.
Well, I don't know. I guess Tyson probably booked a while ago, but he's like good buddies with whoever the current bass player is for Disturbed. He hung out with them there last show.
John Moyer,
yeah. So he's friends with him. So. And we're friends with him, so we're friends with the friend of, I guess.
I'm friends with their current opening band.
Yeah, well, you're friends with everybody, Akin, so like you get to live a cool life. John's buddy, John's buddy, Discuss Metal Joe has Korn Untouchables. I don't know if that probably isn't going to come up because I don't think either of you guys are huge Korn fans. That was kind of right outside my top 8.
Yeah, I'm not a Korn guy.
I like them. Didn't love that album.
No.
Yeah, I think Joe makes a good point. He says, I still think some of those thin-sounding rock records were made to sound bad on purpose because of, fuck you, Napster. These MP3s sound like garbage, so we'll do it that way. Like, I mean...
Yeah, that worked.
Yeah, it didn't work so good, but, there you go. But, well, next on my list, I actually... One of 2 live albums I actually have on my list from this year. Again, one of my favorite bands. The frontman's a total dickhead, but March 19th of 2002, I am going with Megadeth, Rude Awakening. It's a damn long live album, which I like. They didn't, cut out a lot of stuff, although they could have. I mean, when you put crap like Burning Bridges in there, it's like, okay, like whatever. But, Dave Mustaine still sounds at the top of his game. This was, the end of the Cryptic Writings tour, basically, because it was before, or let me think. Yeah, it would have to be because none of that shitty album Risk is on there. So, yeah, but I mean this is a great album. It's got some really cool cuts in it. Kill the King is really good. So that was a cool selection. I could have done without Return to Hangar, but that was you got Hook and Mouth on here. Almost Honest is kind of an underrated song for me. I think you got Ashes in Your Mouth. So there's some cool things on here. Train of Consequences. There's some good stuff that you don't. I think this was a good set list for them because it wasn't the typical. Here's Sweating Bullets, Hangar 18, Holy Wars, Peace Sells, In My Darkest. Like there was actually some cool, like deeper cuts on this one. So I really like it. And as much as I think Jimmy DeGrasso and Al Petrelli were bad fits for the band, I think this is a cool sounding record. So good production, good set list. So Megadeth, Rude Awakening. So I know.
Nope.
I know not a fan.
Not a fan of Sabbath. No.
Sabbath.
Look at that. JG3. Look at this, man. And how dare you talk about Risk? That album crushes. That look at with the pun.
Stop! Oh my God.
Yeah. This. Oh God.
Dude, of all their albums named after a board game, that was the most
Oh.
amazing.
Kale, thank you for the correction. He says it's World Meets a Hero Tour. That's right. I couldn't remember the one between Cryptic Writings and Risk.
Well, that was a rude awakening for you then to get corrected, huh, John?
Apparently it was. All right. So, Brian, what do you have as number 4?
Oh, we missed one of Kale's here. He had Let Go by Avril Lavigne, and he still listens to Skater Boy, Complicated, Anything But Ordinary, and we're supposed to sue him. No, I'm not going to sue you, Kale.
You ever notice that like people will have these lists and go, okay, don't at me.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, look, you like it, you like it. I mean, what the hell?
All right, where are we at? Number 4.
Yeah.
I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this. I know Bob Hurd loves this album. I've got Ra from One. Love the killer Middle Eastern intro. You know, obviously that's kind of the heritage of these guys. That was their big hit. Do You Call My Name? They're kind of a heavier version of Incubus. There's a little bit of flavors of STP along the way. Second song, Rectifier. Absolutely love the riff on that. It's one of those songs that's able to mix a clean and distorted riff kind of going at the same time, which is always killer. The bass really drives it. I will say maybe at 12 songs, I maybe cut just a couple off of here. It's a little bit front-loaded, but some tracks at the end. A song called Scorn, that's spelled Skorn, which I think is almost borderline paying is it homage or homage to Korn? I don't think that's a coincidence. I'm not even kidding on that one.
Probably not.
There's a cool, really atmospheric, kind of contemplative song called Walking and Thinking. It's a nice overall balance between heavy and light, and it makes the album stand up on its own as being unique. And I don't know. I always think it's kind of cool on an acoustic kind of song when you can actually hear the hands being moved on the frets. You know, it's just like a little. I know in production they try to take all that out, but sometimes when you could just hear just a hint of it over a cool song, it really sort of sells it at being real. And I don't know. I just like this album. This band has never really gotten a ton of acclaim or anything. I think they were kind of a 1 or 2 album wonder and just sort of faded away. Maybe they're still floating around. I don't know. But I think this is a cool album.
Well, they're definitely still floating around because I'll be broadcasting from their show on March the 19th with them, Flaw, Soil, and Union Underground from the Winchester.
Nice.
So they're definitely still around. And if you watch the CMS network, see, I just turned this right into a spot. But yeah, if you want to see how good they sound now, you can just tune in on Rumble or on the CMS network to watch it on the 19th from the Winchester.
Oh, sweet.
Is our good friend Matt Wardlaw going to be there because he's tuning into our show? It says, besides the trees, of course. Look at, man, oh man, what a misleading picture that is of him on Facebook. Look at that.
He actually looks worse than that.
Oh yeah, he is not an attractive man.
So that's not an amazing picture anyway. So.
Yeah. Matt is a very good friend, but boy, he looks like the south end of a northbound horse. So there you go. I'm of course saying this because he can't fight back right now.
Right. I was gonna say, it looks like put that picture back up. Doesn't he look like he could be like the roadie for REM or something?
He does.
He's the guy that brings Michael Stipe his lattes.
That's right. Glass of cum.
Oh God. He says Matt Wardlaw will definitely be in attendance and F you guys. Oh my God. I love you, Matt. That's awesome. For those of you show veterans, Matt's actually my buddy who we did I did the Score episode with. So
yeah.
And now the drinking game, you can bring it, you can do your drinks because I mentioned Score. So there we go. All right, Chris. So number 4 on your list.
It's a band you and I and the lovely Stephanie have seen live within the last decade. A band that I wanted to meet, and of course you guys got to meet, and I got to interview the guy I didn't want to meet. Lacuna Coil came out with their breakout record with Comalies or Comalies, whatever, Comalies. That came out in 2002. Great record. I love Christina Scabia to death. She is just sexy as fuck, and I absolutely love her. Her voice is fantastic. And I really don't like this kind of music, to be honest. Like, there's a ton of these kind of bands that are out there, the Within Temptations and Nightwish, and But Lacuna Coil was a little bit heavier than those bands, which is what I liked about them. But if you ever listen to this record, man, Heaven's a Lie is just a great song. I mean, it's a fantastic tune. Entwined was another great tune. It just was like, it broke me into that band, and I still listen. Every time they put out something new, I can't wait to hear it and see it and whatnot. And we did have fun that night when we went and saw them, didn't we, John?
Yeah, we did. That was a damn good time.
That was fun.
Steph and I were talking to Morgan Rose of Seven Dust. That was kick ass. I love Seven Dust.
But then you ran into Christina when I was supposed to interview Christina. Instead, I got Andrea Ferro, the guy. I was like, what the hell? This sucks. Because we drove to do it. It wasn't like it was here in Cleveland. It was in Indiana, right?
Fort Wayne. Yep. It was at Pierre's Entertainment Center.
Yeah.
Good stuff, there we go. Chastity Crawley says, Chris, I never hear anyone mention Nightwish. They are amazing until Tarja left. All right.
Yeah, well, okay.
JG3 is a Nightwish fan. So my number 4, by the way, is I'm going to skip because that is my number 1 record of the year.
Okay.
So I'm going to my next one. So technically 4th for me. These guys, I think their first 3 records are all great. If I remember right, this is the 3rd album. I think this is a criminally underrated band, and I think they're kind of. I think you hear a lot of bands that sound like this now, so I think this kind of stuff was just catching on, but it is very Killswitch Engage-ish to me a little bit. I don't think quite as melodic.
Van Halen?
No, there's no Van Halen that year. We would have to wait another decade for the greatness that is a different kind of truth. No, it was released on September 17th of 2002. That would be Shadows Fall, The Art of Balance. That is a goddamn good record, man.
I'm pissed because I didn't know this. That did not come up when I was searching. Otherwise, I would have had that on there.
Yeah,
that's one of my. That's like my 10. It was on my list too.
Dude, this record just slams.
Mm-hmm.
It's so goddamn good. What's the second record? The one before it is I prefer a little bit more.
Something, The War Within.
Yeah,
Is that the I love The War Within.
Yeah, that's the one I prefer a little bit more. But this record is so cool, man. And again, Shadows Fall is a band I don't really hear people talk a lot about, but I know people like a lot of bands that sound like them. So I don't really think they really got a fair shake.
It's because they were buried on Century Media.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff, and it does sound kind of similar to a lot of things, I suppose. But I love it. I mean, this record, top to bottom, is just awesome. It's a little front loaded for me, but this is, a band I could listen to repeatedly because it's heavy, but they vary it up and stuff like that. It does get repetitious, I suppose, this style, but I can actually listen to this kind of repetition because there's enough musicality to it that, there's a lot going on to the ear. So obviously John Dene went on to play in Anthrax. He's playing with them now. So
and Jason Bittner was in that lineup too. And he's played with who else, everybody. So
yeah, basically.
Isn't he an Overkill?
I think he's an Overkill now.
Yeah, he's been in on the last 2-3 albums, I think.
Yeah, great players, man. They're doing something now, aren't they? Aren't they doing?
They are.
Comeback record or something?
Yeah, they're recording right now, so that'll be good.
Hell yeah, I'll take that. Sweet. All right, so moving on to number 5, Brian, what do you have?
All right, quick before I get that, I got to do the rest of. We have a couple lists here in the messages I got to do. So the rest of Steve Maloney's list. Here's one that may be coming later. I don't know. Down 2, he has. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Last DJ, George Harrison, Brainwashed. I don't know if anyone's going to have that on their list. Sean Faust, I'll do his real quick. Tori Amos, Scarlet's Walk. I know Chris is waiting to do that one.
You got my number 1.
I don't have anything against Tori Amos. He says that's his favorite album of theirs. He has Tool Lateralus, and that's actually wrong. That's 2001, I think, because I would have caught that.
Even if it was 2002, it would still be wrong.
Okay, let's mute you. Flaming Lips, that came up before. With Tenacious D. D Fun Pack. I don't know what I think of Tenacious D other than I do not like.
I know what I do. Nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of funny, but emphasis really very strong. He's also big into film scores, so he's got Attack of the Clones on here for you, John, and the
Oh,
score
okay.
from Howard Shore's Lord of the Rings also. So
Okay.
Look, now John
Very
likes Tenacious D because he likes
No.
the score to the.
Dude, yeah. Dude, Jack Black just tries way too hard to be funny. I'm
That-
not a fan of Tenacious D. It is just one of those things where it's like, hey, look how funny I am. Like, well, when you do that, you're not funny.
I
It's like
100% agree. Like, I'm okay and everything else, but especially with the music, I do think it's way too like trying too hard. All right, number 5. I can't wait to see somebody spit out their beer on this one. I've got the Donnas, Spend the Night. I remember.
Donnas. Look at the look on Akin's face.
I remember buying the CD after I heard the song "Take It Off" on one of the. I don't know if it was. Maybe it wasn't MMS. Was 92.3 still around? I don't even know what was around then.
92?
It was
Or 2002? It was
Yeah.
92. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I even stopped the CD. I played the whole damn thing through. It's like Spend the Night. It's like 1978 to 1982 teenage female angst on full display. It's like the rock star parents went on vacation, forgot to lock up the basement. You know, the babysitters got into Dad's Marshall stack and the Strats and the SGs. It's like a perfect mix of Rick Nielsen riff, Ramones, Runaways, guitar driven. It's like just garage pop. You know, it owes way more to, you know, that era of like late 70s, early 80s than it does 2002. Now, I'll be the first to say lyrically, this stuff makes Gene Simmons look like Shakespeare. You know? I mean, who cares? On the Rocks, Take It Off, Who Invited You? I mean, we don't care if you think our party's cool. We don't care if you have more fun in Sunday school. I mean, these are amazing ones.
Jesus.
And then the
Hello,
next-
Ramones.
And
Yeah,
then
right.
And then the next song is actually called "I Don't Care." You know, I was working overtime. Now I just want to walk out. I just tried to make him mine. It's not like he's a knockout.
Wow.
I mean, the lyrics are awesome, but man, these like just buzzsaw guitars, like pass it around. It's like, do we need a song about the person at the party who bogarts all the booze and weed and refuses to share it? Yeah, we do if it's done by the Donnas. You know, if you don't pass it around, we'll run you right out of this town.
I'm trying to envision the actual theme of the show. So you walk into the record store and you're like, you know, it's 6 degrees of inner turbulence, please. Oh, you don't have? Well, then give me the Donnas, okay? That'll be a good second choice.
Exactly. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to put on some bell bottoms, jump in the time machine, and I'll transport myself to the nearest roller rink in 1979 so I can cruise around.
God.
And put
It's
this
like you
album
walked
on.
into the record store and said, give me the smartest thing. Oh, you don't have that? Well, give me the stupidest thing on the rack. Jesus, dude. Come on.
It is dumb. It's really brain dead, but man, I love the guitars and I love the melodies. It's just fun.
Speaking of dumb, JG3 says, hey, Ted Nugent made a record in 2002. Ted Nugent is shit on a stick. I fucking hate that guy. I hate Ted Nugent. He can just jump off, take a long leap off a short bridge. Fuck that guy. Hate him. Hate him, 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 hate him. So, Chris, what is number 5 on your list?
It would be the ultimate Ted Nugent. No.
Penetrator Remix 2002.
That's right. For me, number whatever we're at this point would be Cold Chamber, Dark Days. They were a mess, and by the time they did this record, they were absolutely all just drugged out of their mind. They were a total mess. They all hated each other. The way I've heard it was, if they did a record, they didn't have to pay back a lot of the money that they had already taken, so they trudged through this record. And the fact that they hated each other so much made a killer record. I love this record. To me, it's the best record of the Cold Chamber catalog, which I know that's not really saying a whole lot with, I think, 3 records, but
Yeah.
But Dark Days, you know, Something Told Me was awesome. I don't know why they always had some obsession with vehicles, but, you know, first they gave us the big truck. On this one, they gave us the rowboat. And just like Big Truck, it's an awesome song. Rowboat is an awesome song. So, I don't know. Cold Chamber was one of those bands. I'm quite happy that they did break up and form Devil Driver, which is probably my number 1 or 2 favorite extreme metal band of all time. So I like where they went to, but this was kind of the last gasp of them reaching into nu metal, and nu metal was dying at this point as well. So, You know, it was kind of their last reach into nu metal, and they hated each other, which made for a great record. So Dark Days for me, Coal Chamber.
Okay. It's a band I never got into.
Shocking.
It's not my thing. Yeah, well, it's not my thing. You know, there was, but then a lot of those bands like Coal Chamber in the early 2000s, I didn't really, I wasn't like really that into. So I was into some of the cleaner nu metal shit, I think.
Okay.
You know, which I do have.
Crazy Town.
No, not that. No. Oh no, I have an example of one coming up. Don't worry.
Come,
Okay.
my lady, come, my lady.
But so the fifth one on my list is the second live album on the list, and it is a live album by a band who actually hadn't played with this lineup in 6 years at the time this was released. So I don't know the story behind it, Chris. You probably do, but I'm really glad they put this out because the original lineup of this band absolutely slays. No offense to the current lineup, but I am talking about released on September 24th, 2002. It is Sepultura's Under a Pale Gray Sky. So I love a lot of, dude, the early, the Max Sepultura stuff I love. And the Derek stuff is good too. I love like Arise is one of my all-time favorite thrash records. Chaos AD, I think anybody who likes metal likes that one. And again, like the Megadeth record, this one is really long. There's a ton of stuff here. It's got, you know, some really, you know, the one thing I will say about this though is that, man, Igor Cavalera, son of a bitch, that guy was either on coke when he played live, or he just did not have a concept of the fact that he had guitar players playing with him. Because I mean, his tempos, holy Jesus,
Yeah, he's
like,
real fast.
oh God, yeah. I'm like, you listen to something like Territory, which is, you know, it's the middle part's supposed to be like dan 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 dan. They're literally playing a dan 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 dan, like he's like double the time. I'm going, bro, you better not be doing that shit when you get to like Morbid Visions and, you know, Beneath the Remains tunes, because otherwise you're gonna have arms falling off up in front of you, dude. So yeah, so I love this one. Again, I could do without the Roots stuff. I know that's gonna be probably sacrilege, but I was not a fan of the Roots record. I just don't really dig it. But, you know, it's got a bunch of really great old shit. You know, Beneath the Remains, Mass Hypnosis is on here. Desperate Cry, Troops of Doom. You know, a bunch of stuff off of Chaos AD, of course. Just a great.
It's
live
real
record.
long. I do know that. It's what, 2 CDs? Like it's like 3 hours long. It's like they took multiple shows and weaved it all together.
Yeah,
if I remember right, it was a contract thing. It was Roadrunner had the recordings to it, and they weren't selling. Or I think that's right when Sepultura might have left, when the you know, Derek Sepultura left. So they had this to put out, and that was kind of the transition. Yeah. I could be wrong on that, but I believe that's what that was.
I think I read that too. I mean, it's an hour and 48 minutes long, and they say it was recorded at one show at Brixton Academy in London, but yeah, it's 2 discs, and there's a lot. There's 15 songs on the first disc, and then 13 on the second. So, I love it. Like, you know, the original lineup of Sepultura to me is awesome, and so this was. I'm glad this exists, even if it is just a contractual obligation. So,
sure.
Brian, number 6 on your list.
Let me unmute myself here.
I was gonna say.
Number 6, I do have the first repeat of the night, echoing Chris Akin. It's funny how 2 people can have like totally different ways they came to the same band. So I'm the exact opposite. I actually came on board for the second Howard album, and that's how I found Killswitch. Absolutely loved Howard's voice. I still love it. I still think, what is the name of that album? It's the one after End of Heartache. I can't think of it right now, of course. But yeah, you know, I mean, this Numbered Days, the great juxtaposition of the heavy and clean vocals. That's why I love Killswitch. I think they're the only band that has figured out a way to pull that off. Like he said, Fixation on the Darkest, that riff. Oh my God. I mean, that's one of those riffs that's going to stand the test of time. Serenade, huge anthem. That was their hit. Temple from Within, the haunting element of One. I don't know. I just think these guys kind of just sort of rewrote the book on how metal guitar goes with these kind of bouncy staccato riffs, and it's very similar to a band that John brought up, Shadows Fall. I just think that Killswitch has found a way to do it with throw a little bit more melody in there, and that's what I like about them the most. I think this is just a killer album, and I think Jesse, the last few albums, like his Return album, I'd still say is one of the greatest albums of all time. And I've liked kind of everything they've done since. I'm really excited to see what this new album is they've been working on, and the other stuff he does with Jesse is great too.
And you're going to get a Howard record, right? Howard and Adam are doing an album together, right? Under a different name?
Yeah, Howard and Adam are doing something. I'm really excited to hear that. I don't know. I just think Adam is one of those guys that's just so underrated. I mean, his playing is just unbelievable.
Yeah,
hopefully they come up with a better band name for that than Howard's band Light the Torch. That was the stupidest band name I've heard in a long time. That's just terrible.
Yeah, not a great name.
Light the Torch is going on tour with Open the Window. Like, let's
I was trying to think of When Daylight Dies. That's the first Howard album I heard. And
okay.
I love that album. I love Into Heartache. I mean, to me, there's not...
Killswitch is great.
Yeah,
they're just a great band, and there was a lot of bands that tried. It's funny because they had success, and then a bunch of bands tried to have that same sound, and none of them could do it. Shadows Fall was close. They're similar sound. God Forbid, Unearth. There was a bunch of bands that came out trying to do that exact same thing, and none of them were as good. I mean, I would argue God Forbid was better than all of them, but that's just me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Chris, what is next on your list? We are at number 6.
Number 6 for me, the one behind me, Cataclysm, Shadows and Dust. This is some heavy, meaty shit. And they're my favorite death metal band of all time. And I know when you hear that, you're just thinking, you're thinking that's what it is. These guys, I've argued forever that they are the band that introduced deathcore, the deathcore sound, because they mix in just a hint of melody and some of the breakdown stuff. They do different stuff. Mauricio vocally, he does stuff that you can understand with the growling, with the screaming. He goes all different directions. And this record, this is the one. This one and then the next one where the two are they're both right in there, but they have never done anything bad. And this one here is just so fucking heavy. And the tune on it, Bound in Chains, if you're looking for a place to start, you just play that tune, you turn it up really loud. And if you survive it, then you know that you're meant to listen to it because it's really, really heavy. This is a very extremely heavy record, but goddamn if it isn't brilliant. So Cataclysm, Shadows and Dust for me at number 6.
So is this band still around then, or?
Oh yeah, they put out a record 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yep, called Goliath. Yeah, I love them. I dude, real quick funny story on this dumb band. There was Brave Words had their Brave Words festival here, and they asked me to do intros for some of the bands, me and Bill Peters, who's local DJ here, and they had some guys from Brave Words that came down, and we were all taking turns doing intros. And I got asked to intro Cataclysm because I really was digging them at the time. And I got up on stage, and this was that Saint Anger era Metallica, maybe?
Yeah, it was right before.
Right, so it would have been Reload era Metallica, but it was when everybody hated Metallica in the metal world. So I get up on stage, and I get everybody chanting, "Fuck Metallica, fuck Metallica." I get everybody in the whole Odeon, which is sold out, chanting "Fuck Metallica," and of course, Brave Words was trying to work something out with an interview with Metallica.
Oh no.
So I come off the stage, and Metal Tim from Brave Words and Mark Groman, they were screaming at me, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, and I just was like, "This isn't Metallica. Fucking sucks. If you want real metal, you want Cataclysm." And I brought, I was just hyping everybody up for Cataclysm, but I brought them on, and what was funny is even now Maurizio, I just talked to him maybe 6 months ago, and he brought it up to me. He's like, "You remember that time when we did this?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, of course I remember that." So just fun time, man. I love those. I love me some Cataclysm, man. Always have, always will.
That's awesome. Well, the next one on my list is actually right up there in terms of heaviness, with good shot, with Cataclysm. It actually is, since I just said the band name, October 1st of 2002. It's, also death metal, obviously. Good Charlotte, the Young and the Hopeless.
So, Jesus Christ.
There we go. It's one of those like guilty pleasure listens for me. I like a lot of pop punk stuff. Songs. I can't say I like a lot of bands and full records, but I like most of this album. And of course, it's again a common record to like, because it's got the anthem, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and Boys and Girls, but I mean it's got some other stuff that album cuts that are really good, and it's it's just a catchy record. It's very well produced, and not too much to say about it. Like I say, it's definitely a guilty pleasure listen, and it drives my wife bananas when I play it in the car. She does not like pop punk at all, so just not a fan of it. We actually, in Brother Believe Me, we added Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous recently, so that's a fun tune to play. It gets people bouncing and dancing, especially if they're drunk. So just a good fun listen, especially in a year where most of my stuff was heavy. So I know it's nothing you guys would get into, but it's again a guilty pleasure listen for me. Good Charlotte. So
Girls don't like cars, girls like boys and money.
Yes.
Oh wait, I got that backwards.
Well, boys will laugh at girls when they're not funny.
Right.
It's funny how prophetic the song is.
I actually do like that album. I didn't realize that came out. It didn't come up on my list, so I'm not going to ding you for that one. I don't mind the tunes on that one.
I'll get dinged for my next one. So
I've never heard it, so I have nothing to say.
Yeah, it's punky and poppy and catchy, dude. It's like radio pop rock. So it's cool. So all right. So Brian, number 7 for you.
Quick before I go into that, this Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. I knew that someone was going to bring that up. I know that I don't think either of you guys are huge fans of Queen of the Stone Age. I actually liked a couple of the albums after that, like Clockwork and Villains. I really liked those. Not surprised that came in there. Nothing by Meshuggah. You a Meshuggah fan, Chris?
I do like them. I didn't like them at the time, but I like them a lot more now. Yeah.
Yeah, cool band. All right, so where am I at? Number 7?
Yeah.
All right. This is John's favorite band, Audio Slave, the self-titled. You know what? To me, this is what I thought that Black Sabbath 13 album should have been. Quick to the point of riffing. Like this Rick Rubin, these guys they're not a metal band, they're a blues band. Like he should have given us more Supernauts, more Paranoids, and way less Planet Caravans, right, when he was putting that together. But, man, I mean, the opening drag across the frets for Cochise on this, your head spinning, it's like killer rock opener. Look, I know Chris Cornell isn't for anyone, but I challenge to find a better rock performance he puts on this first Audio Slave album. Maybe Super Unknown, but, Show Me How to Live, Like a Stone, Gasoline. I mean, dude sounds like he drank 4 gallons of 89 octane, but, in a good way. I mean, there's the groove, the riffs. To me, it just all works to a T for Audio Slave. It's the perfect blend of heavy and light. A song like I Am the Highway into Exploder, like that set it off now, children. That super high, just scream. I mean, to me, this is like Audio Slave. All they needed to do was do this one album. If they would just done this one album, it would have been perfect. The other two are okay, but, it loses its thing after, the second and third time. I just think this is the perfect slab of a perfect mixture of musicians, and I just think they really pulled it up with something pure and fresh, and it doesn't sound contrived.
Yeah,
Radio music pass.
Yeah, I just, again, the Chris Cornell thing kind of, it does it in for me, and I was not a Rage fan. I actually performed an Audio Slave song for a lot of years. We Got the Whip. I don't think that's on this one.
No,
That's on the other one. But yeah, I mean, from what I understand, if you're into Rage, it's pretty damn good. So just not my cup of tea, but I know a lot of people dug it. It was real popular at the time. So, cool. But again,
it was Radio Soundgarden, which for me didn't work. It just, it's okay. I don't hate it, but last time I played it was probably when I was at MMS. Just right around this time, I guess. So
they definitely picked the safest stuff on the radio. I think there's some killer stuff in the deeper cuts you probably would dig a little more,
Maybe because I do like Soundgarden. I'm not John. I don't hate Cornell. I actually think Cornell's fantastic. But
I think he's a fantastic vocalist. I just can't stand the tone of his voice. It was one of those.
You're wrong, but that's okay.
Whatever, dude. You think Kid Rock is like a fucking genius, so I don't need to hear
you're
that
wrong
shit.
on that one too.
Oh, you're full of crap. Shut up. We argue about that.
How many Diamond records? That's what I thought.
He's not a genius.
At least 10 million people repeatedly like what I like, but that's okay.
Oh, who gives a shit? I got Van Halen over that, so eat my nuts.
No Diamonds.
Oh, yes, they have two of them, you big dummy.
Oh, so then they're even with Kid Rock. I got it.
Oh, give me a fucking break. You don't know your ass from a hole in the ground. All right. Anyway, all right. So moving on to your number 7.
Number 7 for me, Soulfly 3, great record, brutal. It's like Primitive was not as brutal as the first record was, and then they came back with 3, and it's just a murder cycle, man. It is just punishing. And like Downstroy was a great tune. Seek and Strike was a great tune. They do a song, the one song One, which is not the Metallica song, but they brought in Christian from Il Nino to sing on it as well. So, it really, for me, it was like the perfect time. And I'm a Cavalera guy. I love Matt. I mean, I like the other Sepultura too. I really, really do. I think people that wrote them off have missed a ton of great metal with the Derek Green stuff. But that being said, Max, I don't care what it is. If Max is in it, I'm listening to it. It could be that Go Ahead and Die, or it can be, whatever that record is, that project is he does with Dillinger. Doesn't matter to me.
Killer Field is awesome. Yeah.
Any of the stuff. Nail Bomb, Soulfly, Cav Conspiracy, it's all good to me. And Soulfly 3 stayed in my player a lot during that time. So for me, number 7, Soulfly 3.
I have to admit I'm with you with the Max Cavalera thing. I don't listen to a ton of those projects post Sepultura, but I love the Killer Be Killed records, like I just said. I think Nail Bomb is one of the greatest band names ever. We were talking about stupid band names earlier, and that's a great one. Like if you're like, I want to buy a new record by a band I don't know. I'm going to pick something heavy.
Right.
What am I going to pick? Oh, here's called Nail Bomb. I think I'm pretty safe buying this, and I'm going to get something, heavy.
But wait, here's the Donnas. Maybe I should. Never mind.
The Donnas making their comeback. Oh my god. Yeah. Speaking of Cavalera and Cavalera Conspiracy, something I listened to again today, and I know Akin, you call it the fucky effect on the Classic Metal Show, but dude, Max and Igor re-recording those two first Sepultura records, Morbid Visions and Bestial whatever
Devastation.
Yeah, Bestial Devastation. Dude, those are awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Way too much reverb on Max's voice, but that's kind of how the vocals sounded back then.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god, those things just rip. And it's not, some of these bands when they go back in the studio and re-record their stuff, like if it's thrash, it slows down. They did not do that with this.
It's faster.
Exactly. It's fat and it's tighter. Like the tightness is, oh my god, it's just so good. So if you guys like that sort of thing, if you guys are into the first two Sepultura records, check out the re-recorded versions by Cavalera Conspiracy. They're fucking awesome.
Yep.
So speaking of fucking awesome, and I'm going to put on my hat, strap in some war gear, jump down in the trenches in my foxhole as I'm about to take the beating of all beatings This record was released on November 5th of 2002. And all I have to say is, if you don't like this record, if you're going to shit on me for it, back down, I'll take you on. Headstrong for Anyone, the debut record by Trapt. I'm a huge fan of that record. Yeah. Huge fan, man. Sorry. And like, not full records, but like there's a bunch of songs on records after that I like. So, and I know that's like absolute heresy, but they got some catchy shit to me. So, I mean, the singer's a complete moron, but, you know, JG3 slowly pulls out Club.
Didn't they have a song that sounded like a song by that band called Gatlin or something? Somebody said one time.
No, that's Taproot. That's Taproot. Shut up.
I can't tell those bands apart that start with a T and end with a T.
Shut up. JG3 squints eyes but puts away Club. Yeah, we were accused of ripping off Taproot, which is bullshit. But yeah, I mean, dude, kill me for it, but this has a lot of catchy tunes on it. Headstrong, I mean, that's an obvious one, but you know, I just, the guy writes some cool hooks, man. And I think musically, like, the musicians that played in this band throughout their history are actually pretty underrated. There's some pretty good playing on these albums, and that of course never ever gets talked about because, you know, Trapt is a popular whipping boy, and for good reason, especially lately with this guy just spewing his politics everywhere, which just shut the fuck up and play your music, you know. But yeah, kick my ass all you want. I dig this record. So it's number 7 on my list, leaving only my number 1. So
oof.
I'd rather be.
That's all I'll say is oof.
Well, I knew it was not going to be a popular selection. So
rather be trapped in a closet under a refrigerator. I don't know. In a burning airplane.
Well, all these international viewers and listeners just dropped off the show. They're like, wait a minute, this guy's talking Dream Theater, but he likes Trapt. I'm out.
Yeah.
All credibility lost.
That's right.
It's no Donna's, I'll tell you that much.
JG3 again. He says, can you ever really be underrated if you just suck? That's a good point, man. It's a very good point. All right, so we are down to the last albums on our lists. I saved my favorite one for last. So, Brian, what is your number 8?
By no surprise to anyone, it's Symphony X The Odyssey.
Yep.
So my first encounter ever with them was on Gigantor. I knew nothing about Symphony X, and I heard the song. The first song I ever heard was Inferno. I think I went and looked it up. Did we have YouTube back then? I heard it somewhere. Actually, it might have been on Napster or one of the file sharing services, which was not legal at the time. Yeah, man, Inferno. I mean, the guitar. The guitars are super upfront and heavy. It's said it a million times. It's good modern Yngwie. With great vocals. Wicked, kind of a Pantera feel to that one. Incantations of The Apprentice. The harmonies are great. Of course, the title track. I mean, it's amazing. 23 minutes or whatever it is. I got to see it live last time they played here. Of course, they're going on tour again, and they're missing Cleveland, as usual. But I was lucky enough to get to see them play the Odyssey in its entirety. And just Russell Allen, I mean, I said it before, there is no better, I don't think, voice rock-wise with that heaviness, yet that soul, yet that melody. He is absolutely untouchable. He's Dio in his prime right now to me. Love the guy's voice, and I love Michael Romeo's playing. And just a killer album. If you're looking for some place to start with Symphony X, there's probably not any better one to go with than the Odyssey.
It's a great record. There's no question about that one. And Michael Romeo's a monster. John, I'm surprised you're not more into Symphony X than you are. I know you like them, but I don't think you've ever dug into them enough to really dig in, because they're like Dream Theater on steroids in most cases. They really are. Hey, you might want to unmute yourself, dickhead.
He sounds amazing, though.
Sorry. I've been coughing, so I muted myself. Yeah, Brian and I did an episode of discography discussion, and we went through the entire catalog of Symphony X, and it's cool. I like the more recent records just from a production standpoint, obviously. Sure. I'm on record as saying that the goddamn keyboard player from Symphony X never ever made much money because he still has the same effing keyboard in 2022 24 that he used in 1985, and it sounds atrocious. But yeah, I mean, I like him. I think
true.
It's very true, and you ought to know that as a kid.
On those older albums, yes, but not on the newer stuff. Come on, man.
Whatever. But no, I mean, my thing with them is I think some of the symphonic metal like this, I like it, but it gets a little too. It just sounds a little pretentious to me, just the teeniest bit, which is a weird word to use when you have a podcast about Dream Theater. But Dream Theater is that's like musical and but it's very musical and it's extreme and it's But I think a band like Symphony X gets kind of into the soaring symphonic, and I like that sound, but not a ton. So I think that's why I really appreciate Symphony X, and I could easily listen to them. I mean, when they announced that tour, Brian, honestly, I looked to see if there was a Cleveland date, I'd go see them, if for no other reason than to see Michael Romeo. But that's definitely a band I could see live. But I just don't go out of my way to listen to them too much. So, but I mean, very, very good. So, yeah, I think that's the one, JG. I would say that's my favorite too. JG says Paradise Lost was the album that really got him into Symphony X. I think, yeah, that Paradise Lost is the one for me too.
This was also the first album that the production really kind of went almost to the next level. Now, it went even farther once they got on the super major label, but of the earlier records, this is one took a giant leap, and then they took that leap to like full, record, budget behind them on Paradise Lost.
Yeah, because those last two are great. Iconoclast is iconic. That's a killer record there. That's probably their untouchable to me. But
and I agree about Russell Allen, by the way.
Oh, he's
phenomenal.
Great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, Akin, since we only got a few minutes left with you because you are off doing another show at 9:00.
Yes, I am. Number one for me, Down 2, Bustle in Your Hedgerow. Every song is great on it. That being said, it's a different record than Nola. Nola was like Southern Fried Pantera to me. It really was heavier. This was a little more Led Zeppelin-y, which obviously the title should give that away. But
exactly,
it's like if Phil Anselmo decided to do kind of stoner blues, that this is what this record was, and it worked. Like Stained Glass Cross, great tune. New Orleans' Dying Whore, killer live. I don't know if you ever saw them on this tour, but when they played that song live, it was fantastic. And it's a great record. It stands up today, has really good production. It's the lone Down record that has great production from start to finish. So yeah, for me, Down 2 would be my number one with A Bustle in Your Hedgerow.
Awesome. Yeah,
I need to go listen to that again because I still don't know what I necessarily think of the first Down album. I don't hate it. I don't love it. So now you have my interests talking about the Zeppelin thing on the second one. I'm going to check that out again.
Yeah,
it's like Swampy Zeppelin.
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with it. I mean, I've listened to it and it didn't really do anything for me. But I mean, go ahead and crucify me for this too. But I'm a Phil Anselmo fan, so if I had to sit down and listen to it, I could tolerate getting through it because I still So it is what it is. But real quick, Akin, before we let you go, I will give my top record for 2002. This was released on April 23rd, 2002. And it is, we were just speaking of symphonic metal, where this is definitely symphonic. It's big, it's lush.
Oh,
There's a ton of killer tracks on this album. It was written, the artist is legendary. It's got like a 50, 60-year career. I am, of course, talking about the soundtrack to Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Ugh.
If there's a Star Wars soundtrack out, man, it's going to be my number one pretty much. It's, all joking aside about my Star Wars nerdiness, I love listening to Star Wars soundtracks, man. It's just like and movie soundtracks in general. For movies I really dig. It's kind of like if I'm working and I need to hear something besides like, work talk, I'm putting in a soundtrack, and Star Wars is always a good one. And as much as this may be a very maligned Star Wars movie, there's a ton of really, really great music on here, some really good pieces and stuff from the start of the Clone Wars and everything, and the love theme.
Yeah, that's
good.
my favorite part.
Oh, shut up!
Oh, the Jar Jar Binks concerto to die for, especially when it goes into Adagio in that one area.
Whatever. Look, Donna's, whatever, bro. Sorry, the Donnas didn't play on it. Look at JG3. Get a load of this guy. What a dork. Mike L, total dweeb.
Yes.
Hey, I admit it, man. I admit it. They're both saying they're joking, but you don't have to quantify.
Don't be joking.
You can rip on me all you want, guys. I will fully take that beating. I deserve it. So, all right, Chris. Well, you've got a couple minutes before you have to go off and do more Chris Akin stuff.
Yes, I do.
So, thanks for making time for us tonight. It's always awesome.
This is fun.
So. Yeah, thanks,
so
buddy.
It's definitely fun. So.
Plug your shit real quick and then get the fuck out of here.
Meatspin.com. You can find everything you need there.
Nice. That's your top website of 2002.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Don't even know if it's still a site or not, but if it is, there's a lot of entertainment there for you.
Here it is.
The entertainment just goes around and around and around.
Oh my God. People are going to look that up like, what the hell? So, all right, brother. Well, thanks for making the time, dude. I love you, man. And thanks very much for jumping on.
All right, boys, take it easy.
Take care, brother.
All right, see you.
Well, there goes the mighty Chris Akin. He's always good for a laugh or 17. It's funny. I forget who said it earlier in the chat, but I think it was Mike Ellis says, man, Akin is brutal. Like, yeah, that is a perfect word to describe Chris Akin. Brutal is definitely, that is definitely a word to describe him. So, well, that was fun, man. That was like pulling teeth, finding enough records for this year, but
yeah, you really struggled because you had 2 live albums and you had Star Wars soundtrack in there.
Well, even if it would have been an easy year, I mean, I would definitely have a Star Wars soundtrack. So
it was all I could to find, and I know everyone's going to rip on me. I actually do love that Donna's album. Like, thank God I found that, and then I found the Boston one because I was like, I was going to try to force something, and I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
just it's not happening.
I listened to a couple of other things that I was thinking about putting on there, like, again, a band you'd never think I like, but I don't like full records, but I like a lot of songs by Lifehouse. And their second record, Stanley Climbfall, was in 2002. And that was weird because they tried to go heavier.
Yeah.
And it was like, what the hell is this? And every other record they've ever done is like normal, what you would think of Lifehouse being. So that was weird. I tried to get into Vapor Trails. I was like, and I just didn't know enough about it. I was like, yeah, I don't know. And so there was that, and there was a couple other things that I listened to. I was just like, yeah. And these were stuff I would actually be like, yeah, I would, I either currently listen to them or previously listened to them a ton.
Right.
And see, look, here, Chastity's getting my back. Chastity says they've proven that soundtracks help improve productivity. See, there you go. So I actually have a soundtrack playlist that I listen to like every October.
Oh yeah.
I put a bunch of soundtracks back to back. It's Nightmare on Elm Street, Alien.
Oh, nice.
It's
Alien's amazing.
Yeah. The Hellraiser soundtrack and the Hellraiser 2 soundtrack and Halloween.
Yeah, any horror movie, especially the newer stuff, man. Some of the stuff is just, and some of the Christopher Nolan stuff, like the Inception with what the hell's the guy's name? He's like the second most famous guy besides John Williams that does all the scores.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Hans Zimmer.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he makes some incredible, just, really cool, atmospheric, combining symphony, same thing, But, there's a lot of cool stuff out there.
Definitely. And I got to say, man, as much as we ripped on you for the Donnas, like, you can't really rip on you for that when I have Trapped on my list. I will fully fall on that sword. I knew as soon as I saw that record came out, I was like, oh, I knew it was going to be on my list. And I was like, oh, am I going to get shit on for that?
I will say, if you put that Donna's on and you just listen to the guitar, you'll just be like, holy crap. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just cool guitar, garage pop rock. And it sounded like it was just turn up the Marshalls to 10, and I like that kind of stuff. To me, it's a little bit heavier guitar than the Ramones. Like, I always thought the Ramones were cool, but I wanted a little bit more crunch from the guitars, that came from the Ramones.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, when we do these episodes, I generally check out the stuff that you bring up. And just something new to listen to, because I am pretty narrow-minded, sadly. So
I did write down Cataclysm Bound in Chains. Let's see how long I last listening to this song.
yeah,
Should we do it over under? Because I know the stuff Akin in is just a skosh heavier than you and I could tolerate.
Yeah, he's definitely dude. He listens to everything, man. If you're friends with him on Facebook, he'll post some days when he's working, and he'll be like, yeah, getting some stuff done today, and he'll post what he's listening to.
Right.
And man, he'll go from like Cataclysm to like the most light pop, like like fit like the Babies or something. It's like the weirdest thing. So yeah, he's definitely, man, oh man. Look at Chastity. I am truly jealous. She says, John, speaking of Star Wars, my local theater is doing a Star Wars marathon in May. You got to go. You've got to go.
Is there some kind of anniversary coming up again, or?
It is the 25th anniversary. Let me think. 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace. They're actually re-releasing that in theaters in May.
So is there some kind of anniversary coming up or something?
Oh, shut up. JG3 says he's surprised that Akin didn't drop some Bloodbath. I know that's a band that he listens to. So, like I said, I mean, Jay, I know you tuned in a few minutes late, but yeah, he said he had like 50 records he could have chosen from. So, whereas I'm like struggling to get 8, Akin's like whittle out like 40 records. But,
yeah.
And again, like I said, I looked up 2003, and thankfully that one is going to be a lot easier for me to find albums. What's going to be a pain for me is what to cut out. But
here's a question, not Dream Theater at all. John, are you excited for Dune 2?
I did not even see Dune 1. I'll be honest with you.
Dune 1 looks killer. It's still on streaming. I'm debating trying to watch it or not. I don't know.
I have to get my older brother to watch that, because he and my mother are enormous fans of the book.
Okay.
They're huge book readers, and they swap stuff, books between themselves a bunch, and they were huge fans of Dune when I was a kid. So they didn't like the movie that was out of that previously, which I heard is pretty much nobody does. But
one from '84 or whatever. Yeah, I tried watching that, and it doesn't hold up either. Even if you liked it, I don't think it holds up.
Yeah, but I heard that these movies are awesome, Jay. So I'll have to see if my brother watched that, because I know he's a big fan of the novel. So well, cool, man. Yeah, like I say, 2003 is the next one we'll do, but it will not be our next episode. We'll figure something out for that. As usual, we got some cool stuff coming up. I know we have to do the song ranking for Systematic Chaos. We got that coming up. We still have to do our album deep dive into The Astonishing. So we have to do that. I'm getting author Stephen Rosen back on. We're going to do a deep dive of Fair Warning. I was actually in the process of trying to set that up when you said, hey, we're doing this, and then you posted about it. So tonight's show was going to be it's my birthday on Monday. So this was my birthday show, and you hijacked it. So thanks for that.
Sorry about that,
man. But yeah, and I want to get Paul Logue back on, because he wanted to talk about Queensryche's Empire album, which of course me and you, that's definitely one of our favorites. Are you going to that Queensryche show here in a couple months? Are we doing that?
Well, it's funny you say that. So I probably will not. Well, I know it's not a probably. I will be returning from the Monsters of Rock cruise, flying back 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay.
And Queensryche is on that cruise.
Wow. Okay.
Now, from what I understand, though, they are not playing what they're doing on this tour, which is Queen of the Reich and the Warning in their entirety. Yeah. So I do not have tickets. I may still try to, if I can find some in the balcony, which we're probably going to cost God knows what. Are you going, or?
Oh, I have to. I mean, Armored Saint's on there. I want to see John Bush. I'm not the biggest Armored Saint fan. I mean, there's some really good stuff, but I thought that was a band I would like a little bit more than I do. But
they're going to be like the second band I see on the cruise. Armored Saint's on there as well. So that's kind of another reason where I was like, I don't know about going to the show here, because I could see both bands twice on the cruise.
Right. And that's anytime I get a chance to see Queensryche, I'm going. It's always so goddamn good, and especially if they're doing all that old stuff that honestly, I never really listened to those two records, so I actually have to go through and listen to them. It's going to be kind of a new thing for me.
Oh man, The Warning is so we talked before. You guys were talking about the re-recording of those Sepultura albums.
Sepultura.
Oh, sorry. Sepultura. Sepultura. Of those recording those albums. And like, I mean, I would love, it has to be, I think it has to be with Latore, which I don't even know how that would work out contractually. Yeah. Get Latore to re-record Queen of the Reich in the Warning with modern recording technology. I would just love to hear that.
Yeah.
Because specifically Queen of the Reich is, I mean, that sounds as dated and old as the recording. I mean, it does sound like they stepped right out of 1981 or whatever when they probably actually recorded it. And it was released in, 83, I think.
It's still so good, though, man.
Oh, it's still amazing. And the Warning, I still like the guitars on that, but I would just love to hear that re-recorded. But all that being said, if you want to do your birthday show and have an even bigger present of me not being there, you can do the show in 2 weeks. You can do your Van Halen show without me. I'm not going to be offended. Or you could do a totally different show. But, yeah, I'll definitely be out because my flight doesn't even – I think we don't even get back to Cleveland until close to 8 o'clock.
Okay. Well, I will find something. Maybe I can get Steve on, and we'll just nerd out on some Van Halen talk. I'll be like, "Hey, man, let's do it." That would be absolutely amazing. Hey, Steve, can you come on? Just a bullshit Van Halen, like, let's do it. So, look at this, Mike L. He says, "I was in a Queensryche tribute band, so they are ruined for me." No shit, Mike. What position in the band were you? Were you Eddie Jackson, Michael Wilton, DeGarmo? Were you Jeff Tate? Were you Scott Rockenfeld? Like, who were you? You got to let us know that. So, well, man, that was a blast. Again, always a good idea when you do this. And we're starting to get into, Mike says he was drums. So he was Rockenfeld. So did you go crazy like Scott Rockenfeld did too? Oh, sorry. Allegedly. Anyway. So yeah, good idea on this, man. These are always fun. This one was a little difficult, but I think we've said before, like getting into the later 2000s and especially the teens and all that, we're gonna have a hard time coming up with records. Yeah. We're gonna have to combine years. The Mangini era is gonna be all like let's just do 8 records from every year of the Mangini era. But
well, it'll be easier for me because I get more into newer stuff than you do. You're really gonna struggle, man.
Yeah, unless it's a band I already know, like I don't listen to anything. Like, but I also can't really find much unless it comes up, when I'm listening to something older and it like because I have my Amazon set to where it'll just queue up new stuff. Okay. Like once an album ends, it'll be like, oh, here's something that sounds like that. So I find a lot of bands like that. It's like, oh, I never heard this before. It just popped up. So.
Right.
Shane O'Mac, you are completely right. Good to see you, brother. By the way, he says most new music sucks. Yeah. Tell me about it. So
well, the problem is there's a lot of good stuff, but you got to dig because it's just a glut. There's too much, like,
yeah,
we won't go into this, but it used to be you had a couple records to sort of grow and get your stuff together. Now it's just anyone can put anything out, and it's out there. So,
well, they can't all be Mammoth WVH. So just leave it at that.
Right. All right,
huge man. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning into another episode of Talking Into Infinity, a Dream Theater centric podcast. Again, major thanks to my very, very good buddy, Chris Akin, for jumping on and being a part of the show tonight. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to click that like button, click that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. We are going to be right back here in 2 weeks. It will be, let's see, what will the date be? Like first, second, third, fourth. It'll be March 6th. So it'll be, will it be March 6th? No, 7th. It'll be March 7th. So Thursday, March 7th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in for that. Brian will be off, but I will be here. I will be doing something. So I will have a guest host with me, and we will be talking about something musical. I will see if there's a Dream Theater topic, and if there's not, then it'll be something cool. So, tune in for that. It'll be awesome. And as always, guys, to all of you in the chat, you guys are excellent. Thanks for driving the show. Mike L, JG3, Shane O'Mac, obviously Kale McLeish, Ali's Studio, and our good buddy from Spain, all the way from Spain, Josox Atlantis. I know I'm brutalizing that, but thanks, guys, for tuning in the chat. And real quick before we go, again, Chastity Crawley, major condolences. Hope you and your family are doing as well as can be expected, and major prayers and much love out to all you. So hope you get through this as well as you can. So until next time, guys, he's Brian, I am John, and as always, y'all, we love you, and carpe diem.